Welcome back, guys. So, Jeremy and I have been talking for this next discussion piece. We really wanted to go over some nicknames. I feel like nicknames are a big part of football because they become synonymous with the player and they become kind of legendary. Like we were talking about Deion Sanders earlier, prime time.
Yeah, that being said, these aren't just any nicknames. These are what we call the ultimate nicknames. The nicknames that you guys hear all the time with a bunch of different players, and we want to assign one player to that nickname.
So, Jeremy and I each have a choice for each nickname. And then it's up to you guys to tell us who you think is the ultimate version of that nickname and who had the better list. Okay. So we're going to start off with everyone here's Gunslinger. Gunslinger is a risk it, no biscuit QB who is willing to make the play to win the game every single time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think of all time, we think of Brett Favre. You know, he might have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game, but he could also have 2 interceptions. And that being said, my ultimate gunslinger in the NFL, you guys might be thinking Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, but those guys are pretty consistent with the ball. They don't throw a lot of interceptions. My gunslinger is Jameis Winston. You know, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions this year. And he's not afraid to throw it up. He's not afraid to take a chance to Mike Evans or now maybe Michael Thomas if he gets in the game with the New Orleans Saints or Emmanuel Sanders, even Jared Cook. You know, Jameis Winston is the ultimate gunslinger because he kind of just throws it up there hoping someone's going to get it. And, you know, he's got LASIK surgery and, you know, he's training a ton. He just looks a lot better this year.
Yeah, I definitely think that Jameis is on the up and up. We should also state that we are only doing current NFL players. So not all time, just currently in the NFL, who represents this nickname the best. My ultimate gunslinger, I'm going to go with my guy, Phil Rivers. This dude is slinging the ball all over the field. He averaged last year 7.8 yards per attempt, which was 6th in the NFL. And the year prior, he averaged 8.5 yards per attempt when he was slinging down to Keenan Allen, Melvin Gordon,
Mike Williams,
Austin Eckler, even Antonio Gates for a little bit, I think, like that. He's passed for over 4,000 yards in 11 of his 16 seasons, and he averages 12 interceptions a year, which is gunslinger mentality. I mean, if you're a gunslinger, you're going to have a few interceptions because you're just willing to take the big play at any time. So Philip Rivers would be my ultimate gunslinger.
Yeah, he's definitely slinging it. He's got 9 kids.
Okay, we're going to move to our next nickname, the Game Changer, the ultimate game changer.
So when I think about a player who can change the game in one single play, I think of Tyreek Hill. You know, I think he's the best deep ball receiver. He's probably the fastest receiver in the NFL. He has the ability to literally change a game. We saw it in the Super Bowl, in the biggest show we saw with Wasp that we explained last week. And I just think Tyreek Hill is the biggest game changer in the NFL.
I can't disagree with that. I went for a little bit of a different perspective. We know game changers are people who make huge plays and you can just flip the game on its head. I kind of went with a franchise changer. I think that Baker Mayfield is the ultimate game changer. I think people forget how terrible the Browns were for how long. And I know they're not great now, but they're definitely on the rise. And these guys didn't win a game for 2 years. And Baker Mayfield said at the Combine, if there's going to be someone to change the culture of that team, it's going to be me. And I feel like there is now hope for Cleveland Browns. Like for a decade, these guys won nothing. Practically nothing. They went through the Johnny Manziel era, the Tim Couch era. Like,
yeah,
I think that he offers that team something that none of the other quarterbacks could have. And he just came with a certain demeanor and swagger, and he changed the culture of that team, and he's changing it currently.
Yeah. You know, I love Baker Mayfield's swagger. You know, I have a signed headband by him, and I love that he wears the headband. You know, he has that confidence that breeds swagger, similar to a quarterback in his division, Joe Burrow. And I love how he jumps out in the air tonight, Phil Collins, and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that he would be like the biggest franchise changer right now.
Yeah. So moving on, now we're going to go to who's the biggest sack artist in the NFL? Who do you think, Justin?
This guy does not get enough recognition. Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones. He is a monster. Like, this guy has been tearing up the league for years and gets like very little recognition. Last year, he had 19 sacks, led the league, I believe. The year prior,
13.
had 13 sacks. And the year before that, had 17 sacks. This guy just tears it up every week, every season. And I feel like he's never in that top dog conversation.
Yeah, no, I think he was my sack artist as well. So we both agree on Chandler Jones being the number one sack artist in the NFL. And he's been in the league since 2012. He's played with the Patriots and the Cardinals. He has 96 sacks. Think about that. So what? It's 2020 now. 8 years in the league. I just think Chandler Jones is one of the most underappreciated players. He doesn't get in trouble off the field, and Chandler Jones is definitely the ultimate sack artist in the NFL.
He's so underrated, and I think he's like the perfect blend of power, size, and technique. His technique is flawless. Oh yeah, and he's speedy. All right, moving on. The ultimate wild card currently. Who is it?
It's my guy, or I think both of our guys, Taysom Hill. When we think of wild card, what do you think? It gives you questions. You don't know what he's bringing to. Is he going to throw the ball? Is he going to run the ball? Is he going to catch the ball? He is the ultimate triple threat in the NFL. And Taysom Hill, you don't know what you're going to get when he's on the field. And he's just such a playmaker. He's underrated, and he's going to get paid. He got paid. I don't know how to pay him. A quarterback, a running back, a receiver. I think he's the ultimate wild card in the NFL. What do you think?
I like that pick for Taysom Hill. He's definitely versatile, and he definitely offers a lot. My ultimate wild card is Fitzmagic. Who knows what you're going to get with Ryan Fitzpatrick? He's either going to be the most basic, backup QB that you would expect, or he's going to be lights out, guns out, fires out, the beard is out. Like, he is going to be slinging that thing all over the field.
Yeah, by his appearance, you wouldn't guess that he went to Harvard and he had a perfect score on the Wonderlic test. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is definitely the ultimate wild card. Two of my favorite interviews of all time is when he came out after winning for the Buccaneers and
with the D-Jacks
with Deshaun Jackson, looked like Elvis out there. And then after, I think it was Thanksgiving, a Jets game, Nick Mangold gave him a little slap, and he goes, "Woo!"
Is this live?
He's all fired up.
Yeah, he's got the big cut on his forehead. Like, I honestly think, like, if you were gonna tell me, like, okay, at their best, you can have one quarterback for one play in the league. If you threw Fitzmagic's name in there, I'd consider it. When he's playing lights out, he's lights out.
I don't think I would pick him, but
I don't know if I'd pick him, but I definitely would consider him because I want a little bit of that Fitzmagic in there.
All right, let's move on. So now we're gonna go. We always talk about the clutch player, the player who steps up in the biggest moments. Let's talk about the unclutch player. Who's your number one unclutch player in the NFL?
Okay, I didn't choose an unclutch player. I chose an unclutch person, and you're not gonna like it. I chose Kyle Shanahan. I love Kyle Shanahan, and don't get me wrong, he has won a ton of huge games. But I think to be the most unclutch, you have to have one of the most unclutch moments. Not only does he have one, he has two. In the Super Bowl era history, only 3 teams have given up more than 10 points, have had a 10-point lead and lost it. Kyle Shanahan is involved with 2 of them, with the Falcons and with the Niners this year. Those are 2 of the top unclutched coaching perspectives ever, and I think that gives him the top for me.
Okay, so I completely disagree with that. I think Kyle Shanahan is the best coach in the NFL, if not top 3.
I'm not disagreeing with you that. I love Kyle Shanahan.
Let me talk. So Kyle Shanahan, if you look back in the Super Bowl, there was a ton of missed moments by not Kyle Shanahan, but by Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm not trying to throw Jimmy Garoppolo under the bus, but there was throws. Kendrick Bourne was open. George Kittle was open in the middle of the field. And Emmanuel Sanders was open on that deep post. That's not Shanahan's fault that his players don't complete the play. And I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but I just think it's insane that you call Kyle Shanahan the most unclutched person in the NFL.
If you're calling out Jimmy G, you should call out the coach for having him putting the ball in his hands. You guys were up by 10. They should have run the ball in Atlanta, ran that clock out, not giving Brady a chance, and you guys had a 10-point lead. Should have run that ball and not given it back to Patrick Mahomes. Keep running it. That was your game plan. You guys were second in the league all year. If you didn't want it in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands, put it in the guys that got you there.
It's like, in my opinion, you can't settle for 20 points. You got to go for more. And I understand that it wasn't working, but Shanahan had stuff. It just didn't come. And I just totally disagree with that. But I'm going to move on. So now my most unclutched player in the NFL, and even though in the playoff game he came up huge, Kirk Cousins. When I think about clutch, I think about who's the one person you want on the field. Let's say you have to have one play, or you have a 2-minute drill. And I might think of Tom Brady, but who's the last person you want? I think of Kirk Cousins. He did step up huge for the Saints, or against the Saints, but other than that, I don't see him making plays on the regular basis, coming up big. We know what he does on Monday Night Football. Sometimes he plays well, sometimes he plays terrible, but he doesn't win on Monday Night Football, and he's just. I wouldn't want the ball in his hands with under 2 minutes to go.
I love Kirk Cousins, but I can't necessarily disagree with what you said. I love what he did in the Saints game. I think that was awesome. But then you forget that the following week they got blown out by the Niners. So like I would like to see more consistency. I think he has the ability. And I love Kirk Cousins, and I think he's a great playmaker. I just need to see more from him. But I'm not ready to deem him as just unclutch. I can see you're fired up after my Kyle Shanahan comment. All right. There are a lot of players in the league called ball hawks. Those are guys that just go and seem to find their hands on the football, mostly DBs, safeties. It can be a linebacker too. Jared, who's your ultimate ball hawk currently?
So usually when I think of a ball hawk, I think of a safety, but I didn't go towards that direction. I went to a corner, the corner for the Los Angeles Rams, the Baltimore Ravens, and Marcus Peters. So he's been in the league since 2015.
8 picks his rookie season.
He had 8 picks his rookie season, 6 the next, 5, 3, 2, 3. He has 6 interceptions for touchdowns, 6 pick sixes, and so 27 in his career. That's insane. He's been in the league for 5 years, and he doesn't get talked about enough because he is one of those guys who will jump on the ball, but he's a ball hawk because he sniffs out the play before it happens, and that's why I love Marcus Peters. He talks crap, and I love him for that.
Yeah, I literally had the same person. I mean, I just thought people forget about Marcus Peters because he didn't necessarily fit the system with the Rams, but the Ravens. I mean, he had he 2 identical pick sixes.
Yeah, he came in right away and
started making plays.
And so he had 3 pick sixes this year. That's insane. He had 5 overall picks this year.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I can't believe we both said Marcus Peters. We don't know who each other picked, by the way. All right. In the game, there are momentum shifts, and a huge momentum shift is when a player gets trucked or hit really, really hard. That's called a hit stick when their lights get knocked out. Who is your ultimate hit stick player?
So I think of all time, we both can agree that Cam Chancellor, Ray Lewis, those are some guys who we believe are ultimate hit sticks. But right now, I'm giving it to Tyrann Mathieu. He's that guy who before my football games, I watched his highlights of, when the Honey Badger, LSU. I watched him with the Cardinals, the Texans, and now with the Chiefs. He stepped into that leader role, and he's probably one of the last guys I'd want to go head up against in the NFL.
If I was going to choose a defensive player, I would choose him. I was going to pick a linebacker or a safety, but I wanted to pick someone who I just want to remind the world of how terrifying this guy was. He is still in the league. Marshawn Lynch. As a running back.
Beast mode.
He is quoted as saying, I want to run through a mofo's face. Like, he is not looking to juke. He is looking to run through you and then punish you.
Yeah, he's about that action boss.
We love Marshawn Lynch. I mean, I'm so happy he's back in the league. And yeah, he's my ultimate hit stick because coming up, if you see him in the backfield, it's going to be a fight all day long. All right. Speaking of a fight, there are some bullies in the NFL. There are some guys that just want to beat you down and see you lose. They want to take your soul from your body, and they want you to know that they did it. Who is your biggest bully in the NFL?
So I think there are a lot of guys who have that mentality in the NFL. You can go Richie Incognito. You can go Vontaze Burfict. But I went towards a more positive side, and all I got to say is, look at the details. Mark Ingram, so what I was talking about going head up against, imagine you against one-on-one against Mark Ingram. He's the last player who I'd want to have to make a tackle against. 3rd and 1, it's one-on-one. He's running through you. He's running through your face, and he's taking it to the crib, to the apartments, baby.
Yeah, I like the Mark Ingram pick, but I'm just telling you straight up, if you're talking about one guy you don't want to go against the league, it's got to be Big Q. Quentin Nelson, guard for the Colts. This guy is just mean. Like, He is so mean. Like, I am scared for his opponents. You saw his hit on Barry Church. He's throwing Jadeveon Clowney around. He's throwing everybody around. He does not care. I saw this clip of in practice where they were warming up for a game, actually, and he got hit with the ball from one of the punters, and he walks up to him and says, "Don't ever do that again." I mean, he's just terrifying. He is huge, and he does not care. He will knock your lights out. If you see Quentin Nelson pulling around the corner, whoo, it's over.
Yeah, you should also check out his interview on Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewan.
It's
Hysterical.
hilarious. It's hilarious. All right, moving into a lot of players. If you're in the NFL, you have to be smart. Like, there is so much that goes on that you have to be aware of, and so many things you have to learn. But there are certain players on the field who go beyond just understanding, and they begin to teach. And who is your ultimate coach on the field?
So my number one coach on the field is Earl Thomas, the safety for the Baltimore Ravens. Sticking with Baltimore, I think he's one of the most underappreciated safeties in NFL history. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. We saw what he did with the Legion of Boom, where he was with Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, and a ton of other guys. Earl Thomas, he's that vet who just knows where the play is going before it happens. Reminds me a little bit of what Malcolm Jenkins used to do with the Eagles and now with the Saints. And I just think Earl Thomas is the ultimate coach on the field.
I love that pick. I'm going to go with Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman, to me, is very, very fundamentally and technically sound. And I believe that he's imparted a lot of that wisdom to the Niners corners. And I think a lot of the leadership he brought to that team has helped. It was a huge part of why you guys went to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, not only is he super intelligent, he went to Stanford, but he brings confidence, and he helps players like Ahkello Witherspoon, Emmanuel Mosley, who are young, inexperienced, and he's going to help them get better. And we saw throughout the season, we saw what Emmanuel Mosley did in the playoffs, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Not to mention he's a Stanford grad. He is a smart cookie. He is really smart. All right, our final ultimate nickname. Who is the ultimate ankle breaker, Jer?
So I thought of a bunch of different guys. I thought of Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, but or even Saquon Barkley. But my ultimate ankle breaker is Devontae Adams, one of the most underappreciated wide receivers in the NFL. He has the best releases in the NFL, and he just crosses guys up like he's playing basketball. He's also an amazing basketball player. I think he might be the best dunker in the NFL. And, I remember in the Seahawks game, I think it was the Seahawks game, he completely shattered a dude's ankle, made two guys go the wrong way. He did a slant go, and it was just beautiful to watch.
I love Devontae Adams. It's another guy that's one of my guys. I just love him. I think he's amazing.
Yeah, I loved him coming out of Fresno State. So yeah,
I got to give love to a guy that didn't perform necessarily great this year, but you can't forget about what he's done in the past. Le'Veon Bell. This guy was shaking people out of their shoes, man. We cannot forget how dominant he was on the Steelers. Literally every single game, you would see guys falling on their knees because this guy was so shifty. There's this one juke on this linebacker from the Ravens where he literally bobs in midair and the guy just collapses. It's ridiculous. Le'Veon Bell's jukes are top class to me.
Yeah, that's another guy who, before my football games, I would look at his highlights, and I would just... It's hard to sit down while watching him.
It's hard to sit down while watching him. He's that engaging. Ba-boom! Way to go. You did it. You made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. And also follow us on all of our social media at the 50/50 Ball. Have a great day. Peace.